let's talk about a little manga publishing group known as Clamp.
Ah, yes, Clamp. What can I say about these ladies? In 1987, a group of female manga artists came together to form their own doujinshi group known as Clamp, and entered the mainstream manga publishing business with their release of RG Veda in 1989.
And today, we are going to take a look at an anime adaptation of their manga Chobits.
Chobits was created by the group in 2001 and ran in Kodansha's Young magazine until November of 2002, and a 26-episode anime adaptation was made by Studio Madhouse in April of that year. The story is about a young boy named Hideki who picks up an abandoned Persicom, basically a humanoid computer, and takes it as his own.
And what exactly does he do with it? Well, let's take a look and find out.
My name is Hideki Motosuwa.
We begin with a young man named Hideki Motosuwa as he moves into the city in order to attend college.
That is, of course, if he can get into college in the first place.
Denied.
Motosuwa decides instead to attend a college preparatory school in Tokyo. As soon as he arrives in the city, he comes across a group of humanoid computers known as Persicoms on display.
I'm guessing he has a thing for androids. Well, I guess you can't get them pregnant.
Unfortunately, they cost a fortune.
Hey Vegeta, how much does a Persicom cost in today's US dollars?
It's over 9,000!
Yeah, I thought so.
So as Hideki settles into his new apartment, he is visited by his new next-door neighbor and his miniature Persicom Sumomo.
Hello!
Congratulations on your new apartment!
What is that?
Master, that guy's really scary!
Cute. Kind of annoying, but cute.
One day while shopping for food, he comes across a lone Persicom that was thrown out with the trash. And as the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. He takes it home with him.
Not a very good idea, if you ask me. After all, the thing could be full of viruses or someone else's personal financial information. Well, enough of that. Now it's time to figure out how to turn this thing on.
Oh man! I can't find that darn switch! I've already tried pushing every place I can think of. I pushed here, and there, and this, and even these. Even those. I've pushed every inch of this computer I can find! Everywhere! Except... it can't be. No, not there.
So there's the obvious place to put the power button in the robots. Seriously, what kind of sick pervert would put the power button in, of all places, there? Kinda puts a new meaning to the phrase, to turn her on now, does it?
Come to Butthead.
Yeah!
So he finally turns the Persicom on and it instantly grows a liking for him. So he tries to find his new Persicom some clothes while attempting to hide it from the neighbors.
What's the matter? Hey, what happened? Your room is trashed. Hey, relax, man. The bath's open till midnight, you know. What's wrong? Your nose is bleeding.
Oh, nothing. I just got a naked robot chick hiding behind me. Nothing else to see here, folks.
So as Hideki tries to get situated with his new Persicom, he and Chi begin to grow closer together, and little by little more about Chi's past is revealed. But not without some rather hilarious anecdotes.
Hey, look everybody, Billy peed his pants.
Hideki Motosuwa is a 19-year-old student trying to get into college by studying at a preparatory school. He moved into the city from the countryside and thus has trouble getting accustomed to city life and is prone to confused outbursts of frustration. Like many young men his age, he often spends much of his time looking at pornographic magazines and the like.
Dude, grow up. Plus, you don't need an Android or a Persicom or whatever the heck you call it to search for porn. A simple desktop computer could do that. Unless, of course, you want to... Ew.
When he first arrives in the city, he discovers a lone Persicom thrown away in the garbage and takes it home, naming it Chi, after the only thing the Persicom can say.
Which obviously means that she's a defective unit. But looks can be deceiving.
Chi is a Chobit, a particularly advanced Persicom who is rumored to have an advanced form of artificial intelligence and the ability to possess true sentience. When Hideki found her, she was first unable to speak and unable to perform even the simplest of tasks. She is also extremely naive and lacks even basic forms of common sense, which tend to get Hideki caught up in all kinds of weird predicaments.
Like, for instance, trying to buy some underwear for Chi. And I think Jeff Foxworthy said it best.
And I'll be honest with you, I'd rather look at the catalog than go in their stores. Because if you're a man, you always feel like a pervert when you're in the Victoria's Secret store. You do. You feel like the girls behind the counter have the sex offender catalog and they're just trying to match your picture up. Sally, look at the guy with the panties on his head. That is the same guy.
Another advanced trait she has is an ability to learn without the use of software, as when Hideki found her, the only thing she could say was the word Chi. Throughout the course of the series, Chi learns basic skills and eventually takes a job to help support Hideki. On the flip side, however, the more she becomes accustomed to human life...
Let's just say she is about as good as a cook as Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Okay, to make these golden fluffy pancakes, add flour, milk, and eggs. Mix thoroughly. Still lumpy.
Crude humor is used periodically, but is used mostly in the form of mild to very suggestive innuendo. Nudity is used mostly in the first episode when Hideki finds Chi in the garbage and tries to find clothing for her. Thus, I will give nudity 2 stars for quantity and 3 stars for intensity and 3 stars for crude humor. There isn't that much swearing in this show, although there is a good amount of implied violence, including the implication of attempted rape on more than one occasion.
Yeah, I know, it is mostly a human trying to force himself onto a robot. But it's still squicky nonetheless.
Thus, I will give both profanity and violence 2 stars in both categories. Robot girls have pretty much become a staple in anime these days, to the point it has become its own genre. Why? Because she's gorgeous, she's sexy, and she's got a 50,000-mile warranty.
And then there's the fact that you could do all sorts of naughty things to her and she never once complains.
And Chobits is a perfect example of such genre. While primarily about a young college student and his robot maiden, it does manage to take an interesting approach to the concept. Unlike most other robot girls like the butt-kicking Makoto Kusanagi, Chi, on the other hand, is rather sweet and naive, although she is lacking in the common sense department. That is, of course, until this happens.
Uh-oh. Skynet's online and the machines are gonna take over the world and we're all gonna die!
Nah, just kidding. In all fairness, this anime has a lot more in common with Steven Spielberg's movie AI rather than the Terminator series, and oh boy does it ever!
After all, the anime is about a robot girl falling in love with a human boy, and in AI's case, it's the other way around, and the robot boy is modeled after a 12-year-old.
Chobits raises some thought-provoking questions about true love and how far someone will go for it. Much like in AI, where a robot boy goes on a journey to become more human in hopes that he can regain the love of his human mother who created him. And that's pretty much the reason behind Chobits, although kind of gender-swapped. Chobits is an anime that consists of 2 halves. The first half is pretty much your average romantic comedy where Chi's various misadventures manage to get Hideki in all sorts of trouble, which can get quite funny, by the way. However, around the halfway point, it starts to lose its comedic flavor in favor of becoming a romantic drama of some sorts. The show's happy-go-lucky spirit is then suddenly tossed aside for drama and philosophy that can get rather depressing. Thus, for me, the story becomes less interesting as it progresses.
I never thought I would say this, but bring the ecchi jokes back. I prefer that over these depressing plot expositions any day.
Combine that with a somewhat open-ended final episode, I will give story a 3 out of 5. I found the soundtrack to be pretty catchy, especially the opening theme. However, the ending and in-scene themes in comparison are decent, but not exactly memorable. The voice acting is pretty good in both English and Japanese, and each voice fits the characters extremely well. Thus, I will give soundtrack a 4 out of 5. Being from Madhouse, the same guys who brought us Death Note in animated form, the animation is pretty much like what you would expect from them. The animation is very smooth and detailed, and being from Clamp, is very bright and colorful. The animation style is also very cute and has a very distinctive look to it. Thus, I will give animation a 4 out of 5. The characters are fun to watch as they interact with each other in some rather funny ways. One thing that would garner a chuckle from me is that Chi would often end up mimicking Hideki's actions and act all innocent in the most inappropriate of times. Although I did find Hideki's tendency to panic and go off the rails particularly annoying. The other characters are fun to watch and each have fantastic backgrounds that provide subplots which are not only emotional in their own right, but feed meaningfully into the center plot as well. However, once again, the characters become outright depressing about halfway through, as each character's backstory is revealed in a tragic way. In particular, the stories surrounding the female characters in the show. Basically, they begin to feel replaced by the adorable Persicoms once their men start literally falling in love with their computers, and thus start questioning their sexuality as well as their self-worth. Thus, I will give characters a 3 out of 5. Although Chobits was enjoyable and definitely has its moments, I felt it really didn't have any need for drama. If it was all about the comedy, I would have given this anime a higher score. It does ask some interesting questions about what's real and what's not, but the last half of the show is a real downer compared to its happy-go-lucky and hilarious first half. It has some great entertainment value, but it is one of those shows where I hear the manga is better than the anime. But since I haven't read it, I couldn't tell you. But as for the anime, I will give it 3 points for interest and an overall rating of 6 out of 10.
Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go make sweet, sweet love to my Hewitt Packard. This is the American Anime Otaku, signing out.
Who was that guy anyway? He says I created him, but why can't I remember? He was obviously toying with me. I mean, it took a reality marble to defeat him, and still it didn't even weaken him. And what if he does return to make good his threat and finish me off? I'm gonna need some help if I can even hope to defeat him the next time.